Lost MC.
You got no
Fuck
way
the
out,
world.
bitch.
Me oyes?
Go to the
ground. Hermanos,
Shot.
man down.
You fucking
Check him
asshole.
out. Mama pingas.
We got a man down.
¡Ayuda! ¡Sinvergüenza! You're fucking dead! Hey, motherfucker! Hey, motherfucker! Oh, get behind something! Get back, retírense! Hey, cocksucker! I'm reloading! Hey, motherfucker! Hey, douchebag! Ah!
MMI, we expect the unexpected. I can do that. Relax, boss. We got it all under control.
Hello, blind asshole. I couldn't wish for anything else.
Don't step on my kicks.
My
Hipster
vintage
dick.
93 TV totally kicked the bucket. No, it was classic, man. A Woody.
Your cars!
Hi there!
My neck!
Oh, my shit!
Oh, Lord.
What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them round. Aight, I'll get back to work.
I know it's overdue.
You kidding?
What can I do,
Totally
man?
nailed that audition.
Man, you gonna get your money. Stop
Well,
calling
fuck
me.
them. That network sucks.
Manage anxiety and depression the easy way by purchasing a penthouse at the Diamond Casino and Resort.
How's it going, guys? My name is Top Secret Author.
That should do the trick. From 60 to 0 in like 2 seconds.
What do you want, Brad?
Hey, you know what you just saw?
Wow.
You just saw potential.
They told me everything
Get these supplies and you'll turn those empty rooms into a real business. Let's go. Delivery received. They've got what they need to start production. Long John Teabag saying bye-bye.
the most effective overall. You can also upgrade the turret to an explosive turret, which is insanely good. Handling, very responsive, with solid acceleration, $1,000, and there's no trade price available for this one. This thing actually has a pretty solid amount of customization, nice liveries, and some cool visual details. As for weaponry, it comes stock with front-facing machine guns and homing missiles. Now when I say these machine guns are good, I mean they're really good. They can blow up unarmored cars in like 2 seconds, which is honestly insane. If you compare them to the ones on the Night Shark or most other vehicles with built-in machine guns, it's not even close. In fact, the Toreador is the only vehicle where I actually recommend using the machine guns. On most others, they're just useless. One of the main things that makes the Toreador unique is its submarine mode. By holding H on keyboard or right on the D-pad, I'm pretty sure, you can transform it into a fully functional submarine. And it actually handles really well underwater, especially when compared to other submersibles. You can even use the boost while underwater, and the homing missiles turn into lock-on torpedoes. Speaking of the boost, it's not the strongest in the game, but it recharges super fast in about 2 seconds. The Toreador's regular acceleration isn't great, so the boost really helps it to get moving and hit top speed much quicker. Another cool detail, the windows are invulnerable. They won't break from bullets or any other type of damage, allowing you to dive into the water whenever you want without worrying about them. However, if the vehicle is missing something major like a door and you enter the water, it will instantly be destroyed just like any other car. Now for PvP, this thing is arguably even better. It's got a solid armor able to take up to 6 homing missiles, not too much to write home about. It's honestly pretty lacking. Toreador are good, don't get me wrong, but the Deluxos are on another level. It comes equipped with 30 homing missiles, which is pretty, and of course countermeasures. It comes equipped with an explosive cannon, which is an enemy supposed to protect you from bullets, and after testing, I can confirm they actually do, but only in certain upgrade to a dual turret. But honestly, I don't think it's worth it. It can only be used by the trade price. This thing is just incredible. Right from the first look, you can tell it's something special. It looks really clean and performance-wise, it's simply unmatched. Currently, it's the fastest aircraft in the game. Speaking of stealth mode, the F-160 Raiju had to make it to this list, coming in at a staggering $6.8 million or $5.1 million with the trade price. This thing is just incredible. Right from the first look, you can tell it's something special. It looks really clean and performance-wise, it's simply unmatched. Currently, it's the fastest aircraft in the game, with really good handling, making it capable of doing basically anything you want super smoothly and easily. It's just amazing. In addition to that, it also has the same stealth mode as the Akula and the VTOL mode, allowing you to land almost anywhere. This makes it even more incredible and maybe the best plane for missions. The VTOL mode can also be used very effectively in PvP. Stopping me there and blasting enemies with that dual explosive cannons is just amazing. Speaking of weapons, the Raiju doesn't have any upgrades for its weapons, just for performance and liveries. However, it comes with dual explosive cannons, as well as homing missiles and non-homing missiles. Unfortunately, it doesn't have countermeasures, but honestly, it doesn't matter, because it has so many other positives. Also, it can outrun homing missiles, so if you're just crossing the map, you probably won't get any problems, especially in stealth mode. Overall, in my opinion, it's the perfect aircraft. And coming in at number 8 on our list is the infamous Oppressor Mk II. Once again, one of the most expensive vehicles in GTA 5 Online, costing $8 million without the trade price or $6 million with the trade price. Now, this is a very controversial vehicle. Really good for grinding, but really good for griefing as well. If we forget the griefing aspect, this would definitely be the most beloved vehicle by the community. It's compact, fast, and has missiles that, even though they are not the best in the game today, were once some of the most powerful, making it excellent for most missions. However, most of the time it's used for griefing, which is what has turned it into the most hated vehicle by the community. There's not much more to say about this beast, but yeah, it couldn't be left off this list. Now moving on to the best vehicle for missions in GTA Online, the Vigilante, available for $3,750,000. When I say missions, I mean the ones where Rockstar restricts certain vehicles, like the Oppressor or the Toreador that I mentioned earlier. This thing doesn't have much in terms of customization as expected, but it can be equipped with probably the best missiles in the game for just $170,000. And when I say these are the best missiles in the game, I really mean it. No matter the circumstances, you'll very rarely miss one of these missiles. Whether your target is stationary, moving, in a vehicle or on foot, it doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter how long you lock on for. You don't have to wait until the lock turns red to be this accurate. Once you lock on, you just shoot and it hits the target no matter what. Really amazing missiles. This alone makes the Vigilante worth it in my opinion. But there's another great feature about this beast. The rocket booster. It has the strongest boost in the entire game, which is excellent for quickly accelerating or reaching top speed just as fast. And it also lets you easily fly, despite the Vigilante being pretty heavy. And probably the funniest thing to do with the Vigilante is launching cars through the air. It's honestly hilarious. And lastly on our list, we've got the Insurgent Pickup Custom, which costs $1.8 million or $1.4 million with the trade price. This is initially a Pegasus vehicle, but you can convert it for $200,000 via the Mobile Operations Center or the Avenger Workshop. This bad boy features a machine gun on top, which can be upgraded to a 50 cal minigun. Now, this isn't necessarily an upgrade, it depends on your preference. The machine gun has higher damage per shot, but the minigun fires faster, dealing less damage, but it's way better for blowing up vehicles. To unlock this upgrade, you'll need to have the bunker research. Another bunker research option for the Insurgent is the heavy armor plating.
What's the rush?
Oh my god. Hello.
Oh, man.
Alright then, Dixon wants some folks brought into Los Santos to see him play. What do you think about flying out and bringing them in, eh? He'd appreciate it no end. Alright then, Go get the chopper and pick them up.
Now this is a bit controversial. It looks like it adds really good protection to the windows, but it doesn't really change anything other than additional protection for the gunner. As you can see, bullets still go through, and it also disables the ability to use weapons or throwables from inside the vehicle, so it's not the best option. I would only use this protection if I had someone in the gunner's seat. In that case, it's definitely worth it, as it offers a lot of protection for the gunner, and I think it's really worth it. In addition, it can be equipped with proximity mines, and its armor is really good, similar to the Night Shark, capable of withstanding up to 27-point missiles or 9 RPGs before blowing up. An exceptional vehicle with great performance for its size and weight, and amazing off-road capabilities as well. It's definitely one of my favorite vehicles in the entire game, and that wraps up my list. Of course, there's also a huge list of incredible vehicles from Warstock like the Kanjali, Scramjet, Weaponized Tampa, APC, Duco Death, Hydra and Laser, Oppressor Mk I, Iron Mule, Menacer, and a lot more. Let me know in the comments what your picks would be, or which is your favorite vehicle from Warstock that's not on the list. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up to help me out, and if you're new here,
Okay, there's an outlaw motorcycle gang moving weapons around the state. As far as we're concerned, they're fair game. Take care. Package received. The team are going to work. You know, not every gun runner in the States got their heart in the right place. Some of them are downright nasty. If you take out this other op for me, I'll make the rest of the resupply go easy.
There are dozens of weaponized vehicles in GTA Online, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. But in this video, I'm going to show you my picks for the 10 best weaponized vehicles in GTA Online in 2025. Now, like I said, there are a lot of vehicles, and in some cases, there are vehicles that are very similar to each other, so for a few spots on the list, I focused on the vehicle I think is the best, but also gave a quick mention to a similar one to keep the list from feeling too repetitive. So yeah, technically it's a bit more than just 10 vehicles, but I think you'll understand the approach. With that said, drop a like, consider subscribing, and let's dive in. Starting off our list with the weaponized Ignis, a car that is only available on the new gen version of the game. It's priced at $4.5 million, making it the fourth most expensive vehicle on the Warstock Cash and Carry website. This is the weaponized version of the regular Ignis, as the name suggests, and it features a minigun mounted on top that is extremely powerful. It can blow up vehicles very quickly. However, the minigun doesn't rotate 360 degrees. You can shoot forward and slightly to the sides, but nothing too impressive. Its vertical aiming angle is also limited, around 60 degrees upward, so it's not great for hitting air targets. Still, it's a very good weapon. This car can be upgraded with HSLE performance upgrades at the LS Army for $500,000, making it, if I'm not mistaken, the fastest supercar in the entire game, with a top speed of around 145 miles per hour. The Ignis also comes with collision-resistant windows, which can withstand up to 15 rifle shots before braking, always a useful feature in a vehicle. On top of that, it includes a missile lock-on jammer by default, which is extremely useful, especially considering that the weaponized Ignis can't withstand any explosions, so that jammer really helps a lot. It's definitely very expensive, but it's also one of the best vehicles for missions in GTA Online, thanks to its solid weapon, bullet-resistant windows, missile lock-on jammer, and insane speed. That said, there are vehicles like the Speedo Custom or the weaponized Tampa, which I'll also talk about in this video, that have a very similar minigun on top, but offer much more freedom when it comes to controlling the weapon, a major weakness of the weaponized Ignis. Next up, we got the FH1 Hunter, possibly the second vehicle with the most weapon options on this list. It's available on Warstock for $4.1 million or $3.1 million, with a trade price a bit expensive but definitely worth it. First of all, the Hunter features the trade price a bit expensive but definitely worth it. First of all, the Hunter features countermeasures, which aren't very common on helicopters and are one of its main advantages. According to some of you who commented on my best Warstock vehicles video, Chaff is the best option. So yeah, and thanks for that info by the way. Moving on to weapons, you have the option to equip bombs and turrets. The bombs include the standard 4 types, and while dropping them can be fun, they're not all that useful unless you're an absolute pro with the bombs for some reason. It also comes with a 50 cal turret, which isn't great, but you can swap it out for what's probably the best helicopter weapon in the game when it comes to the gunner's seat. I don't have any footage of using it, but trust me, those 300k will be the best you'll ever spend, if you have a friend to use it. If you're a solo player, it's really not worth it. Besides those upgradable weapons, the FH1 Hunter also comes with homing missiles by default. They don't have the best tracking, but they're 100% spammable, which makes up for it. It also features barrage mode, which is super dope and fires 7 missiles in a row. In terms of performance, it has a top speed of 145 miles per hour, making it the 7th fastest helicopter in the game. As for handling, it's very responsive and sensitive, so I'd recommend tweaking the handling settings until you find what works best for you. And if you usually struggle to land helicopters, you won't with this one. It's really sturdy, even if you hit the ground hard. It's also explosion resistance, being able to withstand up to 3 homing missiles or 4 RPGs. RPGs usually deal more damage, but for some reason, this thing can take more of them than homing missiles. Weird, but hey, it is what it is. The Hunter is definitely a heli designed more for dual play. If you're a solo player, it's not nearly as effective. In that case, I recommend going with the Akula. It's got some great features, it's slightly faster and way more solo friendly, even though it doesn't have quite as much offensive power. Moving on to our first plane on the list, we've got the F-160 Raiju, available for a whopping $6.9 million or $5.1 million with the trade price, making it the third most expensive vehicle on Warstock, right ahead of the weaponized Ignis. This jet only seats the pilots, just like most top tier jets in the game. When it comes to customization, you only get options for armor, performance upgrades like engine and handling, respray and liveries. The Raju's weapons come pre-installed, which is honestly a relief, because if you had to spend even more on top of that already heavy base price, it will be a pain in the ass. It comes with explosive MGs, which are actually really good, but don't have insane range to be honest. You also get homing missiles and non-homing missiles, though their tracking isn't great and you can't spam them. You fire 2, then there's a short cooldown of about 3 seconds before you can fire 2 more. The Raiju also features VTOL mode, which lets you land pretty much anywhere on the map, and this can actually be great for both PvP and PvE, especially in certain missions. Although it's not the best option overall, there are definitely better choices out there. It also comes with stealth mode, making you completely invisible on the radar. Besides being heavily armed and great for PvP, the Raiju is also the fastest vehicle in the entire game, capable of reaching 232 miles per hour, which is absolutely insane and even fast enough to outrun homing missiles. Despite not having countermeasures, the Raiju can take 3 homing missiles or 1 RPG, which is pretty solid. It's often compared to the Hydra, although I personally think it's way better. Sure, the Hydra also has VTOL mode, but it's not as smooth, and while it's much cheaper, it doesn't come close in performance. Moving on to the legendary Oppressor, aka the Oppressor Mark I. This beauty can be purchased from Warstock Cash and Carry for just $2,750,000 or just over $2 million with the trade price, which is honestly a great price. Starting with the customization, unlike its sister, this one can be only modified in a vehicle workshop inside the MOC or the Avenger. Unfortunately, it can't be customized at regular ALS Customs or the agency vehicle workshop, in case you're wondering. There's nothing too crazy you can change here, as you might expect. In the weapons section, you'll see it comes stock with machine guns, and it also has the option for homing missiles, which is the main objective here. However, you won't have those unlocked at first. To get them, you'll need to complete the bunker research. The Oppressor doesn't exactly let you fly, it lets you glide. Basically, you open the wings on keyboard, that's X, use the boost, that's E, and go up and down using Ctrl and Shift. I'm not really sure what the bindings are on controllers though. You can recharge the boost, but only when both wheels are touching a surface. While you're in the air, you can't recover your boost. On the ground though, you can spam it, and that can get you up to 140 miles per hour. At first, it's going to be really frustrating. You'll crash into tons of poles and buildings, guaranteed. But once you get some experience and practice, I promise it will become much smoother and way more fun. Aside from being super fun and fast, the Oppressor can actually be very effective in PvP, although it can't survive any explosions, so you really need to be good with it. It can be amazing, but you have to put in effort. Unlike the Oppressor Mark II, where you just sit down and do pretty much whatever you want with no real skill or effort. That's why I decided to give priority to the Oppressor Mark I in this list, and also to change things up a bit, because everyone's tired of hearing about the Oppressor Mark II. Next on our list, we have the Deluxo, another one of the most expensive vehicles of Warstock, sitting in the 5th place, priced at nearly $6 million, 6.75 full price or 4.3 million with the trade price. The Deluxo comes stocked with both weapons, machine guns, and homing and non-homing missiles. The machine guns, like on most vehicles, aren't that useful unless you are an absolute monster with this thing, but the homing missiles, completely opposite. They are among the most accurate in the entire game, not the best, but still incredibly reliable. Once you get a lock, the fight is pretty much over. Quick side note, the Deluxo carries 30 homing missiles before needing to be resupplied. It also features hover mode, which retracts the wheels and lets you fly. Although to be honest, the flying is kinda goofy. It's not fast, not very responsive either, but it shines in PvP, thanks to how fast it can spin 360 degrees, giving you a huge advantage in close fights. If you're flying high or being locked onto, you can turn off hover mode to drop quickly, which returns the wheels and makes you fall fast. It's a fun mechanic and honestly makes the Deluxo one of the most fun vehicles in the entire game to mess around with. Unfortunately, the Deluxo can't take a single explosion, which is easily its biggest weakness. You can dodge income homing missiles if you're good with it, but railguns will usually take you out easily. As I mentioned, it's not fast whether on land or air, but it's slightly faster on land with a top speed of around 127 miles per hour. A strong competitor to the Deluxo is the Toreador. It's cheaper, it has some armor, nothing crazy, but still something, submarine mode, and the best machine guns on any car in the game. It doesn't fly, but it has a boost, which gives you a lot of utility. That said, its missiles aren't quite as strong as the Deluxos, even though they're still great. Overall, both are amazing. Personally, I prefer the Toreador, I think it's more OP, but the Deluxo is still very solid and you might disagree. Honestly, I recommend getting both. Continuing with one of my favorite vehicles in the entire game, we've got the APC. This bad boy is available on Warstock like all the vehicles on this list for just over $3 million or $2,325,000 with the trade price. When customizing the APC, you'll get the usual performance upgrades, some liveries, and also the option to equip proximity mines, which are always a nice bonus. More importantly, there's a weapons tab where you can choose between the stock weapon, which is decent, or upgrade to the SAM battery, SAM battery, I don't even know how to read it, but once again, this can only be unlocked through bunker research. You can throw proximity mines the usual way, E on keyboard, and to use the top mounted weapon, you need to be in the gunner seat. To switch seats, just hold H on keyboard and your character will swap positions. If you're playing solo, this can be annoying since you'll have to stop the APC every single time you want to shoot, but honestly, if it didn't work this way, it would probably be way too overpowered. The stock weapon is good, but I personally prefer the SAM battery. It's just super OP and insanely fun to use because you can spam missiles like crazy. However, keep in mind that the missiles aren't unlimited, so as fun and satisfying as spamming can be, they'll run out, and faster than you might expect. Another big plus is that the APC is amphibious, meaning you can drive it through water freely, which can be really useful in certain missions or maybe PvP situations. As expected, it's not very fast, with a top speed of around 63 miles per hour, but its acceleration is solid, so off-roading and climbing hills isn't as bad as you might think. Now in terms of armor, the APC can take 7 homing missiles or 7 RPGs, which honestly could be better. You're also an easy target when in the gunner seat, especially if you're playing solo and someone starts spamming missiles at you. Moving on to the TM02 Kanjali. This beast comes with a price tag of either $3.8 or $2.8 million. One thing you've got to keep in mind though is that you need to own a facility in order to buy a Kanjali. So that's at least another $1.2 million right there, and that's not even counting the customization costs, which can also get pretty expensive, but I'll get into that in a bit. Once you've got inside your facility, you can hop in and access the vehicle workshop. Luckily, unlike the agency, you don't have to pay to unlock the workshop itself here. You have the basic upgrade options, and when it comes to weapons, it starts with the option to equip proximity mines. When further down, you'll see the options for primary and secondary weapons. Under primary weapons, you can upgrade the main cannon to a railgun cannon for $300,000. I'll explain how it works in a second. Under secondary weapons, there's the option to equip a remote grenade launcher, but honestly, in my opinion, it's not worth it. It can only be used by one of the rear passengers, which makes it kind of situational. If you don't upgrade the main gun, it just fires regular tank explosive rounds, but if you go for the railgun cannon, it fires much faster and hits harder. Visually, it even looks like a proper railgun shot. You can also hold the fire button to charge it, which gives it even more power, range and impact. It also makes some loud and terrifying sounds when charging. There's also a machine gun on the front which isn't upgradable and it can be used by the front passenger. It does decent damage and has a solid angle of rotation, so it's definitely useful. As for that remote grenade launcher again, it's available, but honestly, you'll barely use it effectively unless you've got at least 3 players in the tank. It's controlled from the rear seats, so if you're rolling deep, it might be worth throwing on just so everyone has something to do, otherwise, skip it. And like I mentioned earlier, you also get access to proximity mines, which are always handy. The Kanjali is actually pretty quick for a tank. It can hit speeds up to 42 miles per hour, and it can take 8 homing missiles or RPGs before blowing up. Overall, it's a really solid and fun vehicle to own for sure. Next up, we have what many consider to be the best vehicle for missions in the entire game. And by that, I mean missions that restrict what vehicles you can use. The Vigilante. It's available for $3,750,000, which is definitely expensive, so if you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend saving up for the Vigilante right away. Starting with its weaponry, it comes equipped with machine guns, which don't deal much damage and are in a pretty bad position, especially because the Vigilante sits very low on the ground. But the good news is that you can upgrade to homing missiles for just $150k if I remember correctly, which is an absolute steal. These are some of the best homing missiles in the game, better than any vehicle on this list. Against vehicles, it's almost impossible to miss. The only targets it struggles with a bit, and even then rarely are NPCs or players on foot. But if I'm saying it only misses NPCs occasionally, you know it's insanely accurate. Vigilante also features a massive boost, the strongest in the game, and it lasts for a long time too. This lets you reach crazy speeds of up to 147 miles per hour, however, you shouldn't just spam the boost carelessly. The Vigilante is a heavy and long vehicle and its handling isn't the best, so so if you boost blindly, you'll crash a lot and the whole experience can quickly become frustrating. Also, I wouldn't recommend using it against players because it can't survive even a single explosion, which is unfortunate but understandable. Still an amazing vehicle overall, and I'd recommend it to any player who's more advanced in the game. Moving on to the second to last vehicle on our list, we've got the weaponized Tempo. This car has an absurd amount of weapons, but it's heavily dependent on bunker research. Pretty much all of its best weapons are locked behind it. First of all, it can be equipped with proximity mines, which, like with most vehicles, don't require research. Under the weapons tab, you'll find the missile launcher, which does require research, as well as the rear firing mortar and the minigun upgrade. It already comes with a minigun mounted on top, but it's static, so you can't move it around. However, once upgraded, it becomes a fully rotatable 360 degrees turret with great vertical angles and insane damage, capable of shredding vehicles in just 1 or 2 seconds. The missiles, on the other hand, aren't very useful since they don't lock on and only fire straight forward. And you'll also have to be careful not to blow yourself up when going downhill or hitting a small bump. The rear mortar fires explosive rounds, and the range depends on how long you hold the fire button. Holding it for at least 2 seconds gives you the maximum distance, which isn't amazing, but it's a fun feature. The damage is good, but it's hard to hit with, and there's a limit of just 20 shots. Plus, there's another research upgrade for armor plating. However, the weaponized Tempo can't survive any explosions, and even with the armor plating, it's not explosion proof. It just handles a little bit better against nearby explosions. After taking 1 or 2 hits close to the sides, the car will start catching fire, down version of the default Titan, and if you own the Mackenzie Field hangar, you'll use it in the final mission, and that's also how you unlock the trade price. When customizing it in the hangar, it comes with usual performance and visual upgrades, plus countermeasures, which makes it a really strong starting point. The Titan 250D comes with 3 weapons, all mounted on the left side of the plane. First off, if you're playing solo, I wouldn't recommend buying it. However, you can land the plane and switch to the backseat to use the guns yourself by holding the Enter Vehicle button. On keyboard, that's holding F. This lets you test them out, except for the 105mm. Speaking of which, the 105mm cannon is the heavy hitter. It fires a single powerful shot, great for sniping from a distance, but it has a slow reload and can't be used while the plane is on the ground. Then there's the 40mm cannon, which fires explosive rounds in short bursts. It's the only weapon that can be used by the pilot, making it especially useful for solo players. Finally, the 25mm minigun is a fast-firing weapon that's great for quickly taking down vehicles. This one can only be used by gunners. The front windows of the Titan are unbreakable, so in order to kill the pilot, someone would have to destroy the whole vehicle. And for that, it takes 12 homing missiles or 12 RPGs, which is really solid when combined with the countermeasures. Still, since it's a slow plane and all the weapons are mounted on the left side, you'll probably get taken down easily if your opponent has even a little bit of skill. Regardless, it's an incredible aircraft with insane weapons we've never seen in the game before. And that wraps up the list of the 10 best weaponized vehicles in Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. As always, if you disagree, feel free to drop a comment down below, let me know what you think is the best, or share your favorite weaponized vehicle. I'm gonna wrap up the video here, thanks so much for watching all the way through, drop a like, consider subscribing, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.
someone for you.
Hey, look at this damn fool.
Taxi! Hi! Let's go, please.
I am looking forward to the weekend, I tell you. How's it going?
I'm gonna get serious here. I'm warning you.
Hey, don't bump an old lady.
I'm sorry.
Money making is at the heart of GTA Online, and if you want to make lots of video game money every single day, nothing beats a good business, or several businesses, because after the Money Fronts DLC, we now have 25 businesses in this game, which is an insane amount just to think about, but the good news is that you don't have to own every single one of them. If you're new to the game, you can build your way up by purchasing the best ones early on, and getting the less desirable businesses later, just to play around with some different types of content and have some fun and variety in GTA. Not every business is created equal, and some are simply better than others, which is why last year I created a complete ranking list for every single business in GTA Online, starting with garbage tier at the bottom and going all the way up to god tier at the top. Well, guess what? We're about to do it again, except updated for the year 2025, and this time I'll also include the new Mackenzie Airfield as well as the new hands-on car wash businesses to see how these new entries stack up against the old guard. And once again, starting things off at the bottom of our list, we've got the defending champion of trash, the Document Forgery Office, which reclaims its title once again as the single worst business in the entire game at the bottom of garbage tier. Not only is the payout abysmal at just $20,000 per hour with upgrades, by the way, but the locations are also super poor because none of them are close to your other businesses. I mean, look at this. Elysian Island, Grapeseed, there's even one all the way up in Paleto Bay. And if you don't own something like an Oppressor or a Sparrow, this is straight up torture, just traveling between these locations. The only decent one is going to be in Textile City, but even then it's easily the worst MC business in the game without a doubt. You could literally make more money by doing daily activities, and those take less time than running the Document Forgery Office. Number 2 on my list is going to be the Arena Workshop, and while the recent DLC has actually doubled permanently the amount of arena points that you get from playing, it's still far from ideal as we need a complete overhaul of the payout structure and content variety to make this aging business appealing. As of now, the only reason you'd even need to own this business is if you just like how the Arena War vehicles look, and I'll admit, they are pretty sick, like the ZR380, the Cerberus, as well as the Apocalypse Dominator, but unless you're building some sort of Mad Max garage, this business isn't really worth owning for the money, in my opinion. Plus, nobody even plays Arena War these days, so half the time you'll just be sitting in an empty lobby waiting for players to join up. Now, one tier up from garbage tier is the bad tier, and these businesses are going to be slightly better than the last two in terms of payout and quality of content, but I'd still advise against them if you're a serious grinder because they're just not worth the time investment. Take, for example, the high-end apartment, which gives you access to the 5 OG heists. These did get a payout buff in 2022, but they still aren't really worth your time unless you're a new player and have literally never played them before. Even then, you can just get invited to these heists, and you don't have to actually own the high-end apartment unless you're the one one hosting. For new players, this is definitely not a great way to make money, and that's why I'm relegating it to the B tier, even if you want to purchase a bunch of high-end apartments to have extra garage space and places to live. The next entry in the bad tier is the facility. Now, if you're a super rich guy in GTA Online with a few $1 million to spare as well as a tank to store, you might actually be interested in purchasing a facility. By itself, this business doesn't really offer anything, which is why I put it in the bad tier, but if you really enjoy the Doomsday Heist, you might just rank it higher. Yes, I'm talking about all you Bogdan problem glitchers. I personally feel like the Doomsday Heist though just isn't worth it to grind for money as a legit solo player because it takes way too long, but if you got players in your friend group who like a challenge, it might be the perfect heist for you because of the added complexity and high stakes gameplay. By the way, owning a facility also gives you access to the orbital laser cannon, which is the most expensive way of killing someone in the game and lets people know that you've got cash to burn. Quite literally, because the guided shot costs a whopping $750,000 to use. Alright, now that we've dealt with the garbage and the bad tiers, let's talk about the next tier. This one includes businesses that aren't absolutely terrible, but they aren't exactly that great either, which makes them mid-tier. First, we've got the Bail Office, which was introduced in June of 2024 with the bottom dollar bounties update, and I know it wasn't received super well at the time, but I personally don't really mind it too much these days because I can just log in, get done with a quick most wanted bounty for $125,000 on average, grab the money from my safe that my agents collected for me the previous time I was there, and go on with the rest of my grind. However, the Bail Office payout overall is just going to be average once you include the upfront investment for all the upgrades. It isn't all that impressive, unless you really like grinding the same standard bounty targets over and over and over, which in this case is technically possible to make $150,000 an hour at the expense of your sanity. That's why I don't really recommend this to grinders or even new players, because there are so many better options at cheaper price points. By the way, you can buy bail agents to boost your passive income with the Bail Office, but these guys cost $750,000 each to employ, and they bring in a measly $20,000 combined. So yeah, definitely not going to be worth it for most players. That's why I'm ranking it low, even though I use it every single day. And also, if you accidentally kill a bounty target, you lose 75% of your income off the bat. So having a stun gun is going to be an absolute must with this business, unless you want to fill up the local morgue with body bags every time you drive out to grab a bounty. For now, I'm going to put the Bail Office in the upper half of mid-tier, but that's where it stays until Rockstar either buffs the payouts or they add more targets with decreased cooldowns. The next mid-tier business is going to be the Walter White Math Lab, where you can make shiny blue crystals that supply the youth of GTA Online with the motivation they need to go on a murderous rampage throughout the city of Los Santos. While the Math Lab can pump about $40,000 upgrades, it doesn't quite reach the level of the Coca-Cola lockup, and so I'm going to leave this one in the mid-tier. And now it's time to discuss an MC business that's been buffed with the recent Money Fronts DLC. I'm talking about the Grass Farm, which will pay you out 35% more now if you own the Smoke on the Water Grass Dispensary. But is that enough of an upgrade to take the weed farm into the good tier? I don't quite think so, but I'm going to put it close to the top of the mid-tier. Almost at the level of good tier, but not quite there yet because we still get multiple delivery vehicles every time we want to do a delivery with a full MC business. And if you're a solo player, that can be a major pain in the butt because you may get a dodo or a garbage truck sell mission, and that takes forever to drive around the city. Then you have to fly back to the next vehicle on your Sparrow or Oppressor and do it all over again a few more times. Sure, they did remove the post-op vans, but that's like applying a bandage to a giant gaping wound. If you want to just farm MC businesses, it can take up your entire day of playing GTA Online, and that's just not that fun and smart to do. If you have a squad, yeah, the Grass Farm is going to make it into the good tier for you, but if you're solo, like most of the people watching this channel, I'm going to say it still belongs in the mid tier. A couple of slots higher than where it was last time for sure, but still mid in my opinion. And remember, that 35% bonus only applies to sell missions you do from the laptop. That doesn't apply to street dealers. Our final mid-tier business, the White Powder Lockup, is one of the best MC businesses in the game and earns itself a well-deserved spot at the top of mid-tier due to its solid payout and passive nature. Similar to other MC businesses like the Bunker, all you have to do is purchase resupplies and go on the occasional sell mission to make over $60,000 an hour. It doesn't apply. I'd say it still belongs into the good tier for you, but not if you have to fly because you live in the wall tier. And now it's time to discuss an MC business that's been buffed with the recent Money Fronts DLC. I'm talking about the Grass Farm, which will pay you out 35% more now if you own the Smoke on the Water Grass Dispensary. About the Grass Farm, which will pay you out 35% more now if you own the Smoke on the Water Grass Dispensary. But is that enough of an upgrade to take the weed farm into the good tier? I Don't worry, with stop vans can channel on item apply to street dealers. Our final mid-tier business, the white powder lockup, is one of the best MC businesses in the game and earns itself a well-deserved spot at the top of mid-tier due to its solid payout and passive nature. Similar to other MC businesses like the bunker, all you have to do is purchase resupplies and go on the occasional sell mission to make over $60,000 an hour. And yes, you can definitely cosplay as Tony Montana while doing your deliveries if you so please. Alright, now we're finally in the good tier, and my first entry in this tier is going to be the Counterfeit Cash Factory, which also has received a 35% buff with this new update, and if you own the car wash, you can now make close to $500,000 with a full bar product. The only reason I'm including it in here is because of the payout, which is surprisingly a bit higher than even with the Coca-Cola lockup, the previous reigning champion of MC businesses. Yeah, the gross profit is going to be slightly higher with the Coca-Cola lockup as it sells for $525,000, but it also takes quite a bit longer to fill up, and the net profit per hour is higher now with the Counterfeit Cash Factory. In fact, a Reddit user did the math, and it turns out the Counterfeit Cash Factory with the car wash buff applied is on par with the Acid Lab in terms of profit per hour, but obviously the Acid Lab is so much easier to manage as you can simply just resupply by calling MUT, and deliveries always involve a single vehicle no matter what. Hence, while the Counterfeit Cash Factory makes it into the good tier, it barely does so, and it's the absolute bottom of good tier in my opinion. An upgrade from last year, absolutely, and also finally worth owning for serious solo grinding players who were indifferent towards MC businesses before, but that's about it. The Vehicle Warehouse is also getting a rank upgrade on my list compared to last time, and I like this business a lot, but on my ranking list, I put it a tier below where it should have been, and that's because with the explanation I said that it takes a lot of work to set up properly. GTA Online players are lazy. Cut this business a lot, but it's also getting a we're indifferent towards MC businesses before, but that's about it. The Vehicle Warehouse is also getting a rank upgrade on my list compared to last time, and I like this business a lot, but on my ranking list, I put it a tier below where it should have been, and that's because with the explanation I said that it takes a lot of work to set up properly. GTA Online players are lazy and they'd rather the game just play for them, so they probably don't want to deal with that, and that still kind of holds true with this business nowadays. It still takes a lot of work to set up, but that doesn't mean once you get it there, it's not an awesome way to make money once you do so. The trick to running this business in its meta fashion is to only source and sell top range vehicles. To do this, you first need to source 10 standard range vehicles first and then 10 mid range vehicles. Make sure you've got no duplicates in there. If you do, sell them. That's important because if you have duplicates in license plates or vehicle types, they won't count towards that 10 vehicle number. Then keep the standard and 10 mid-range vehicles in your warehouse. Never sell those because at this point on, you're guaranteed to only get top range vehicles anytime you do a source mission. I also recommend grabbing a Terabyte because it makes sourcing missions a whole lot easier as you don't have to spawn in your CEO office every time you want to start a new source mission, so that's super easy to help as you kind of get the process.
First, purchase the garment factory. Second, enter the garment factory by the first. Floor. Third, enter the Terabyte. Fourth, select modify Terabyte. Fifth, select Bureau Tech. Sixth, scroll down to Master Control Terminal. You want to purchase the Master Control Terminal in order to upgrade the Terabyte.